Lovely people, welcome to my channel once again. So if you're new here, my name is Tsungie. Right, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make this lovely t-shirt yarn sleepers. This is a size 7 UK size or a size 8 US size. This is 260 millimeters. Right, so if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified every time that I post a video. Alright, so in this video I'm going to be using a size 7 millimeter hook, a scissors, some stitch markers and t-shirt yarn. And the t-shirt yarn that I'm using is this thin t-shirt yarn. Alright, so let's just get right into it. Again, so to begin, I'm just starting with my t-shirt yarn. Please note, for these shoes I'm going to show you one side, and what you call it, to make another side you just do the same thing, then you have a pair. Okay, so to start I'm going to twist my hook on my yarn just like this. I'm just gonna hold on to that, then I'm going to hold the yarn that's longer here, like I'm just gonna hold here, and I'm going to chain. So to chain, I move forwards, I go up a little bit, I turn my hook to face down, and I move backwards. So that is how you chain. So we want to chain, that's my first chain. So we want 22 chains. So again, forwards, go up a little, turn my hook to face down, and move backwards. I'm going to chain 20. I've done 2. I'm going to chain 20 more and I come back. So I'm going to do it off camera and come back. Alright, so I've done my chains off. I've done 22 stitch chains. This is how they look like. So in this pattern we'll be working with single crochets and double crochet. So it has 3 rows, this so this V here, that's my stitch. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to start from the second stitch. I'm going to insert my hook there. I'm going to grab some yarn, come out with it so that you have 2 loops. I'm going to grab yarn again, and I'm going to pass this yarn through both these 2 loops, and that is what we call a single crochet. I'll do it once again. Insert my hook into the next stitch, grab some yarn, come out with it so that you have 2 loops, grab some yarn, pass that yarn through both those 2 loops. That is what we call a single crochet. So I want 11 single crochets. So I've done 2. So let me quickly do 3, 4 until the 11, and I come back. Okay, so I've done my 11 single crochets. I'm just going to put a stitch marker into my first stitch. This is just so that you will not get confused. Okay, so the next step that I'm going to do a double crochet. So I want to do 9 double crochet. So to do a double crochet, I'm going to yarn over, or just to put my yarn on my hook, I'm going to go into the next stitch. I'm going to grab some yarn, come out with it. So now you have 3 loops. I'm going to grab some yarn, pass the yarn through the first 2 loops like this, grab some yarn and pass through the second 2 loops, and that is what we call a double crochet. Let me do it once again. Put yarn on your hook or yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, grab some yarn, come out with it so that you have 3 loops, grab some yarn, pass through the first 2 loops, grab some yarn and pass through the second 2 loops. Right, so I've done 2 double crochets. I want 9, so I'm going to do 7 more and I come back. Okay, so after doing the 9 single crochets, I'm just going to put a stitch marker on the 9 double crochets, all right, like this. Right, so we are left with 1 stitch now. So into this 1 stitch I want to do 5 double crochets. So I'm going to do the first one, 5 in the same stitch. So that's the first double crochet. I'm just going to move this yarn here to the back like this and just hold it, and I'm going to continue to do my double crochets in that same spot, here. Let's put this one at the back. So this is number 2. Let's do number 3. These are double crochets. Number 4, and number 5. Right, so putting the yarn at the back, it just reduces the hole that we're going to create here. Okay, so let's move on. Right, this next step we want to, so it's looking like this. We want to do what we did here to the side also. So we want to do 9 double crochets on the side. So from the next stitch, this one here, right, we're going to do a double crochet, 1. So we're going to do 9 of them. So 2, 3. Okay, so I've done 3 double crochets. Let me just put a stitch marker in the first double crochet that I did after the 5. Right, so I've done 3. Let me quickly do the rest of camera and I come back. So I'm going to do 6 more. Okay, so I've done with the 9 double crochets. I'm going to do 11 single crochets, just like we did at the very beginning. So single crochets, this is number 2. Remember, single crochets is just, you've got 2 loops, 3, 4, 5. Let me do the rest of camera and I come back. Okay, so I've done 11 and my thing should be looking like this. Right, so I'm going to remove the stitch marker in the first stitch here. So what we want to do, we just want to create a stitch at the middle here. So to do that, I'm going to put my hook into the first stitch like this, and I'm going to grab some yarn, come out with it so that I have 2 loops, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to slip this one into this one like this. Right, so I've just created that middle stitch. So now what we're going to do, is difficult now to work in the first stitch, so we're just going to chain 1. This chain 1, it's a stitch, so it's covering for the first stitch here. So this first stitch that we worked in when we did the slip stitch, we're going to skip it because we did the chain. So we're going to we're going to work from the second. So from the second stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 in the same stitch and 2. So we want to do 2 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. So already done 2 single crochets in this stitch, so we're going to do 2 here until there are 3. So 1, 2, that's stitch number 2, 1, 2, that's stitch number 3. Right, so after that we're going to do 7 single crochets as normal in the remaining 7 stitches before we get to the double crochets. So 7 single crochets and I come back. So okay, let me quickly recap just in case you're lost. So we're at the second row. We did a slip stitch to create a middle stitch, then we chained 1, and that chain 1 was for the first stitch. Then after that we did 2 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. Then after that we did 7 single crochets normal in 7 stitches. So now what we're going to do is reach the part where we were doing the double crochets. So we're going to do 9 double crochets. So let me just show you 1 on camera. So that's a double crochet, maybe 1 more. That's number 2 double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to do 7 more off camera and I come back. So the 7th one should be here in the stitch mark. Okay, so after that I'm just going to remove my stitch marker in that 9th double crochet. So after that we don't need to put a stitch marker. Right, so we're now at the part where we did 5 double crochets in 1 stitch. So in all these 5 stitches we want to do 2 double crochets in each stitch so that we have a total of 10. So 1, 2, left with 4 more. 1, 2, left with 3. 1, 1, 2. Okay, so let me do the remaining 2 off camera and I come back. Okay, so I've just finished doing the other 2. If you count, there should be 10. So now I'm going to remove the stitch marker. This is where we're starting the normal double crochets in 9 stitches. So we're going to do 9 double crochets. So yarn over oh sorry, so 9 double crochets. This is, oh sorry, 1, so 9 double crochets. This is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 4. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm going to do until there are 9, so I'm left with 5. Let me quickly do the 5 double crochets off camera and I come back. Okay, so after the 9 double crochets, we're going to do 9 double crochets. We're going to do 7 single crochets in the next 7 stitches. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, in the next 3 stitches I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches. So 2, so this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so if you did everything right, you should be left with just 1 stitch. Into this 1 stitch you're going to do a single crochet like this. Right, and we are now at the middle stitch. Right, so we're now going to do our last row. Our thing should be looking like this. Okay, so I'm going to take off the stitch marker. Right, so I want to create another middle stitch, so I'm going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to grab my yarn, pass it through. I have 2 loops and slip this one into this one like this. Right, I'm going to chain 1 to put one a stitch marker in the middle stitch here, and this chain 1, it's representing for that first stitch that we're supposed to work in, so we're going to skip that. We're going to go into the next 3 stitches and we're going to do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches. So 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to second stitch, 1, 2. Okay, third stitch, 1, 2, like this. Right, so we're going to do single crochets all across, but the only thing that we're going to remember is that we're going to do single crochets all across until we get to the until we're left with 4 stitches. So let me quickly do that and I will come back. One tip, let me crochet until I get to the crown and I'll show you a small tip. So we're just doing single crochet at this point until we're left with 4 stitches. Okay, just a small tip, when you get to the crown and when you're doing your single crochets, try to just do them loosely as you go around the crown. So I'm going to continue to do my single crochets until I'm left with 4 stitches. So just remember, when you get to the crown, try to do your stitches loosely. Okay, so we're left with 4 stitches. So in the next 3 stitches I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each of those stitches until I'm left with 1 stitch. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1 and 2. Okay, so if you did everything correctly, then you should be left with 1 stitch. Into the last stitch you're just going to do 1 single crochet. Okay, so this is where we are. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly remove the stitch marker, and we're going to end this. Okay, so into the middle stitch here, I'm just going to do insert my hook, grab some yarn, and I want to do a slip stitch like this. So after I do that, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut my yarn like this. Right, so from here I'm just gonna pull out my yarn like this. Okay, then after that I'm also going to pull to remove my hook and just pull my yarn like that, like this. So I still have that stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to count 1 2 into the second stitch. I want to create the stitch here, the middle, this next stitch. So into the second stitch, I was going to insert my hook. I'm going to grab some yarn and go under with it, then just pull the whole thing. Right, so after I do that, I'm going to go into the stitch, the first one. So we just went here, so this is the stitch here. Just going to go to the middle of the stitch, just put my hook there, and I want to grab this yarn, and go down with it like this. So we've literally just created a stitch here that will give you a cleaner finish. Okay, so at this point your shoe is your your sew is done. Okay, so let's do the top part. So for the top part, we're just going to do, it has to be 10 centimeters. Okay, right, so to begin, I'm just going to take my yarn, and just going to take my yarn, just going to twist it like we did at the beginning, and we're going to chain 16 stitches. So grab my yarn, first chain, 2 3 4, so you want 16. So let me do the rest off camera. Okay, so if you're using thin yarn like this, what do you call it, chain 16. But if you're using thick yarn that's a little bit thick, chain 15. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to start our pattern. So we're going to go into the back loop, this loop here, set our hook in there, we need to grab some yarn. So now that we have so that we get 2 loops, and we're going to slip this one into this one, slip stitching like this. That's all that we are. Then I'm going to go into the next stitch, grab yarn so that you have 2 loops, and slip this one into this one like this. So we're going to slip stitch all across until you get to the end. So let me quickly do that to come back. Okay, so this is what it will look like when you get to the end. You're going to chain 1. Right, so we're not going to turn, right, we're going to work now. This is our new line. So right, so we're going to work in the back loop. So these are our 2 loops. Into the back loop again, slip stitch. So we're going to slip stitch all across into the back loop. So let me quickly get to the end and I'll show you. Okay, when you get to the very end again, you're going to chain 1. Okay, so now this here, this is your new line, and you're going to work in the back loop again. So we're going to continue to do that until our thing grows to 10 centimeters. Daisy, so I just did one with just 5 stitches. So but I was just doing the the slip stitches. Okay, so this one has 5 stitches and it's approximately 5 centimeters. So I'm going to do 5 5 stitches here and 5 stitches here. And what I just want to do is I just want to create slip stitches all around. Right, so I'm going to create slip stitches on this side, on this side, and on this side. So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so let me quickly show you. So after your last line, when your thing is now 10 centimeters, right, you're just going to go this, I don't know if you can see it here, in between 3 4 5. Okay, so I'm going to go in there, grab some yarn. Now I have 2 loops and slip stitch. If you take it apart, you see that this one here again, set your hook, you have 2 loops and you do your slip stitch. So 10 on this side, 10 on this side. Okay, so after that you get to the back, right, and you're going to slip stitch in these spaces here. Okay, so insert your hook into the first space, which is this one here, slip stitch, next space, slip stitch, next space, slip, and the last one is to put it here, and 5. Then just pull your yarn like this, so you've got your, like this. Okay, so now let me show you how to attach it to your shoe. Let's quickly join our shoe so that it becomes a shoe. Okay, so I've just joined the 2 soles. So this is the crown where we've got the 10 stitches, and this is the 9 double crochets that we did, and this is the last stitch. Okay, so like I said, we want to we have 10 stitches, so here, from here to here, it's 9 double crochets. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my yarn. Okay, my yarn. So I'm going to start at the stitch that's just below the here, the point where we start our 9 double crochets. I'm just going to hook the back loop, and the front loop, like this. So I'm going to take my yarn, grab it, pull it through. Right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly take my thing, the top. Okay, so I'm going to put my hook through the first stitch. Let me remove the stitch marker here. Okay, first stitch here, and I'm going to go to through the back loop of the first sew and the front loop of the second sew, like this. So this is where we are. So I'm going to take the yarn that's longer, grab it, come up with it, 1, 2 and 3, like this. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to slip stitch. So we're joining by slip stitching, so I'm going to slip this one into this one, like this. So that's our first slip stitch. Going to go into the second stitch, the back loop, insert it there, go to the front loop of the first the first sew and the front loop of the second sew. Okay, I'm going to grab yarn again, come up 1, 2 and 3. Now we have 2 loops. I'm going to slip this one into this one, like this. So that's how we will be attaching. Okay, front loop, okay, up, right, and slip stitch. One more time, let me show you one more time. Into the next stitch, the back loop, then front loop, okay, then we're going to come up, like that, then we're going to slip stitch. So that is how we are joining. So I'm going to do for the rest of the stitches, and I come back. Right, so you're going to see that it will cover 9 stitches and you're still left with 1 stitch. I'm just going to remove the stitch marker of our crown, and we're going to work in 1 stitch of the crown. Okay, so I'm going to put my hook in there. After doing the 8 stitches on the crown, we should be left with just 1 stitch on the crown. So I'm just going to remove the stitch markers. So the stitch markers will just help you to make things easier. Right, so we're going to be working in the first stitch, back loop, front loop and front loop. Okay, so we're going to go grab our yarn, go up, 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 and slip stitch. Okay, back loop in the second stitch, front loop, go up, 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 and slip stitch. So this way of joining, I find that it creates a heel that is not too thick. So if you don't like a thick heel like me, then this is the way to go. So I'm going to quickly do the rest off camera and I come back. Oh, one last thing that I think when I was filming at the beginning, so you're getting into the back loop and then you can get into the front loop of the first sew and the front loop of the second sew. I think at the beginning I was like mixing them up. Just front loop, just make it front loop. Okay, so I've just finished joining the other part, so your shoe should be looking like this. It's lovely, right? It's looking lovely. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slip stitch all across until I get to where we started here. And the slip stitching that I'm doing is just in both loops. So both these loops, then grab, go up and slip stitch all across until I get to the where we started. So I'm going to quickly do that one more time. Let me show you. Insert your hook into the next stitch, go up, this one is side up and slip stitch. Okay, so that's all that I'll be doing. So let me quickly do that and I'll come back. Okay, so I've gone all around. I'm just gonna go into the stitch that's inside, almost going into the shoe, just here, and I'm just gonna do an extra slip stitch like this and slip stitch. Then I'm going to cut my yarn. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to cut my yarn like this and I'm just going to pull. Right, so once I pull, I'm just going to try to get that yarn at the bottom like this. Right, and this yarn here where we started joining, I'm just gonna pull it also at the bottom. I'm going to tie them together like this, maybe one more time like this. And what I'm going to do at the bottom, I'm just going to tuck in the loose yarns. We're just going to tuck it inside my shoe. So I'm not going to show you on camera, but it's simply just tucking it inside, pushing it inside my shoe. So let me quickly do that and I'll come back with the finished product. This is the final look. This is how the shoe is going to look, and this is the back. This is how the back is going to look like, and I've just tucked in yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like what I do, please do subscribe and turn on notification bell so that you'll be notified every time that I post a video. All right, see you in my next video. Okay, bye bye.